Well, hello viewers, my name's Stu, and if you're not familiar with this video series, I recommend that you go to my guitar channel playlist and the links below and start at video number 1, which covers my journey back to playing guitar after a 40-year hiatus, and I cover all kinds of guitars, amplifiers, pedals and lots more. I've also got a series on my recording journey, and you'll find also a playlist for that, so do check out that channel. And please do subscribe to get notifications, hit the like and the bell and so on, as it helps the algorithms for the channel. So this Q&A playlist, questions and answers, is an answer to the many comments I've received both in the comments section below and privately, and you can send me a private email if you like, and that's stu'sguitarchannel@gmail.com. Now, I've had quite a diverse list of requests to make videos on various topics, from writing music for film production, and other videos covering music gear as an investment, and some pretty deep topics such as music and spirituality, a very common theme among musicians. And in regard to the topic I'm going to cover now, buying and selling music gear. When it gets damaged, who's responsible? Does insurance cover the gear involved? And what do you need to know? Now, the clip you just saw at the beginning was of course a setup, and it was just done as a bit of a giggle. However, there's no shortage of YouTube video clips showing some pretty awful scenes of parcels being treated with utter contempt by the odd delivery driver. So this topic was put forward by a channel subscriber who recently sold a guitar on eBay, and they duly sent it off to the buyer by courier. And the guitar in question is this Jackson Randy Rhoads 3, and it was sold along with its hard case. Bubble wrap was used within the case, and the case itself was wrapped in bubble wrap and enclosed with cardboard. And in a moment I'm going to show you some pics of how it arrived, but before I do that, let's look at a couple of points that are really important for those who are buying or selling gear. Are you covered when purchasing new or used gear? Well, point number 1. When we purchase equipment from a genuine music store, your purchase is covered by their business insurance, which means if delivery goes wrong or the product received is not as listed, you've got a right to have that replaced. Point number 2. If you purchase from a private seller via eBay or perhaps Reverb using PayPal, always keep your correspondence, that's the seller buyer, keep it within the system that you're using. And once again, if the item is damaged in posting or it's not as described, you should have recourse through eBay or Reverb or even PayPal itself. But warning, make sure all your correspondence is through the system that you're using. Don't enter into private conversation. Point 3. Of course, where you purchase gear face-to-face, where you can test and you can check the product, then once again a sale is made and that's it. Generally speaking, the sale is made, so buyer beware. What I would say is take someone knowledgeable along with you if you're not sure about what you're purchasing. And of course, in some situations, you may need to keep safe, so having someone alongside might be advisable. Okay, so what about you as a private individual selling music gear? Point number 1. As a private individual, when we sell equipment through something like eBay or Reverb, you must list the item correctly. Every mark, every blemish should be shown in photographs. Now, I know that this takes time to do, but if you misrepresent the item being sold, you're going to run into conflict with a buyer. Point number 2. If you're using a courier to send an item, then you need to be aware that your item may not be covered by the insurance from that courier service. Now, let me say that again. your item may not be covered by the insurance from that courier service. So what must you do? Well, you need to check the list given by every courier service of items that are not covered by their insurance policy. Now, often you'll find that certain musical items, they are not covered. Now, let me just quickly explain it. At this time of filming, most items are covered up to around £20, or in the case of Parcel Force, £100. And I'm speaking in regard to being in the UK. However, there is a checkbox that you can tick to cover up to whatever amount of insurance you require within reason. But warning, just because you tick the box, if your item is on the not covered list, then your item is still not covered, despite the fact that they've just taken your money for extra insurance cover. Now, without getting into the ins and outs of website coding, the courier assumes that you have read the listing on things not covered, and you tick a box to say that you've read the terms and conditions. So if anything goes wrong, you've got no comeback. So back to the question regarding the seller with the Jackson guitar, and who kindly messaged me and sent some pictures. Now, before I show them, I actually have a similar guitar here. This belongs to a friend of mine, and as you can see, parts in the design here, this could be very easy to damage, even if it was kept in a hard case. So you'd need to treat this type of guitar with great care. Now, this weakness is very similar to guitars that have an angled headstock, often seen on many Gibson guitars, such as the Gibson Les Paul, and tragically many a Gibson guitar has had the headstock fractured or completely snapped off due to bad handling, often because they may have been dropped, and in turn the shock causes the fracture. Other areas to watch for are tremolo arm fittings. And in some cases, it's important to remove toggle switch caps, because if the case gets something heavy put on it, these have been known to split or also cause damage to the actual toggle selector switch itself. So the seller understood the problems of sending fragile goods, and as I mentioned, he did a good job of packing the guitar. On arrival, here you can see the guitar unwrapped by the buyer, and here you see that one of the points on the body is completely broken off. The actual box didn't have any damage on the outside. So however this has happened, it's a bit of a mystery. It's as if the box was dropped face flat from a height, which wouldn't have damaged the box, but it would have caused shock to the guitar, or for the guitar to lurch downward inside the case and snap the V-point section. Was the seller covered? No. The courier rejected the claim, and it was not covered according to their list, and after much hassle, the seller did eventually get the maximum £100 general cover paid to him, which was the maximum standard cover for a Parcel Force delivery here in the UK. So the seller was able to come to an agreement with the buyer who wanted to keep the guitar, but all in all, he lost a fair bit of money on that sale, let alone the disappointment of seeing a fairly good condition Jackson RR3 get badly damaged. Real shame. Personally, I've only ever purchased one used guitar on eBay, and the seller was, they were about to send me that guitar via courier until I explained that if the guitar reached me and it was damaged, I'd not accept it. Or if it went missing in transit, either way, he would not be covered. Now, he thanked me because he was unaware of this, and it was a reasonably expensive Gibson guitar, and a headstock fracture was my main concern, because the Les Paul Special TB Yellow VOS model you see here, it's quite a rare model, and you don't see many of them for sale, and very often you certainly don't see them in very good condition. So although we were, the buyer and seller, we were both several hundred miles away from each other, we decided to meet halfway to make a face-to-face purchase. Although once again, everything was done through eBay, thereby covering both buyer and seller. Now, as an aside, I also checked the guitar's serial number and purchase invoice with the music store it was purchased from, since I actually knew the manager of the shop where it was originally purchased, brand new. Now again, perhaps another topic, verification of the genuine state of a piece of music gear is so important today, because with so much stolen and fraudulent goods on the market, you really do need to keep your wits about you. Now, in regard to that purchase, I took along my little Vox amplifier so I could plug in and test all the electrics and the intonation, and at the end of the day I also had a nice long chat with the seller. Travelling to get a piece of kit, it's not always possible, but it's certainly worth considering if it's a sizable financial investment or purchase, or the item in question is perhaps rare or fragile. Over the years, as a director of a film production company, we have of course bought and sold all kinds of very expensive equipment, and buying and selling had to be undertaken with great care. We went about that in different ways. Now, generally speaking, couriers deliver thousands of music gear products without any hitch, and all I would say is do understand what is covered by insurance and what is not. So it's all about being informed so that you can make an informed decision on how best to buy or sell a piece of music gear. And just a quick note, if possible, always send an item in its original packing. If you have it as a studio, we've always kept boxes, original boxes and packing in storage for that very reason. So I hope that's proved to be helpful. Do comment below and let others know of your experiences and how you go about buying and selling music gear. In the next video, in answer to a number of inquiries, we'll take a look at music gear as an investment. And as one person commented to me, I have some money, I don't want to keep it in the bank. Do you think investing in a guitar is an option? Let's see. And in that regard, I'm very grateful to a vintage guitar store here in the UK helping me out with guitar images to illustrate that up and coming video. And once again, do check out my 40-year return to guitar journey videos and the journey of recording, and I think you're going to find them interesting. So please do subscribe to get notified, ring the bell and so on. As I've said, it helps the channel. And please do share your own experiences below, whether a newcomer, an ongoing player, or like me, an old hand returning guitar playing. And I always take time to engage with folks. So if you take time to comment, I'll take time to answer you back. Until next time, the journey continues. Take care.